get you tripped up, and now you're on different lists. You can't do certain things. Don't do it. Just don't do it. So I'm here to tell you that just because your boss, just because a company tells you, yeah, do this, or this is the way that we do it, if you know that you know that you know that you know that it's not right, don't do it. Don't do it. Even if it means you're going to have to go back on the job market and find another job. Don't do it. Okay? Do not do it. It's just not worth it. Hang on, I'm going to close these blinds. Do not do it just because your boss, the company, some special training team comes in and is telling you to do it. Right? And it doesn't have to be a highly regulated industry with compliance departments and things like that, right? Because I don't think there was any regulatory or compliance department for Bad Boy and Combs Enterprises, right? Not necessarily the most highly regulated industry, but it's important for you to know that any of those employees who were involved in those activities deemed as part of racketeering, they got to answer for some things. They got to answer for some things, right? They are going to have to answer for any and everything that they've done. Okay? And just saying that my boss told me to do it is not going to be enough to keep you from going to jail, right? There are people who had to testify before Senate hearings and other depositions in that because the then POTUS, gave them direction and they did jail time. Okay. So no one is exempt. I mean, I know the Supreme Court said the president gets immunity, and notice that they said the president gets immunity for anything he does that is part of the constitutional duties of the role, but it didn't say everybody else gets that same immunity. Okay, I'm not saying they won't, but I'm saying that case specifically only stated that the president gets immunity. And I know that there are times when, especially in sales environments, for example, where different people come up with processes, methods, and things that they say work. But when you hear them, you're like, can we do that? That don't sound right. I don't know about that. You better really do your homework. You better really know, okay? Because I'm telling you, the whole, well, do it or risk losing your job, it's not going to hold up and protect you. You will not be protected in that case. You need to still do what is right. And that may include going higher up and speaking to someone that basically snitching. You're going to snitch either way. I'm going to put you that way. You're going to be snitching either way. You're either going to be snitching on whoever told you to do it, when them boys come in and sit you down in the room and they say, look, here's the deal. We got you. Because when we make a case against somebody, we've got a case. They have like close to like 99% success rate in their cases. So when they sit you in that room and they present you with a plea deal, with some sort of deal, and it involves snitching, that really is your only option. And it doesn't mean that you won't still do some jail time, right? It does not mean that you won't still do some jail time. So you need to keep that in mind when your bosses come to you and are telling you to do certain things, right? Because your boy Diddy, really seemed to think that he was the king and that he could just tell people what to do, and they do it. And there were people who did it. And that brings me back to, it always comes back to when we talk about coaching, when we talk about course creators, when we talk about digital marketing, when we talk about life coaching, when we talk about all of these things, right? You have to have discernment. You don't just do stuff because somebody with authority over you tells you to do it, right? And I coach and I'm really good at it. And I operate from a moral compass. I am not going to tell somebody to do something I wouldn't do. And I am not risking going to jail. I'm just not. I'm just not risking going to jail. Okay. I like my freedom entirely too much to risk going to jail. But you have to use discernment, and y'all literally will lose your mind to work with someone like Diddy, to say that you worked for someone like Diddy. You are willing to do any and everything until they come and cuff you, and then you want to cry, and then you want to play victim. And it's the same thing with the coaching industry. Y'all will do whatever a coach tells you as long as you think it's going to get you the Bentley, it's going to get you the Birkin, it's going to get you all of these things, including different cases with the boys, the feds, right? Until it doesn't work, everything that they promised you doesn't work. And then, you want to cry and you want to blame everyone else when you need to take accountability that you lost your marbles because you were focused on the wrong thing. You were focused on the material things and you weren't focused on the customer. You weren't focused on the process. You weren't focused on your moral compass. You weren't focused on doing as you were brought up to do. See, because that's how these people wound up in this. Okay. I did a stitch of a video just a few minutes ago where this lawyer broke down the indictment and what racketeering is, and he basically said, so the next step is they're going to call people in the room and they're going to start making deals and people are going to have to snitch because they got their case. He said, because the difference between a federal case and a state case is the state case is somebody can make a claim and then you got to go in and prove that you didn't do it. Whereas with the feds are going to take their time. They're going to take their time and they're going to build their case. So by the time that they charge you, by the time they get you in cuffs, they got you. And that is why they have a nearly, like, I want to say it's like 96, 97% success rate because of the way that they operate. They put a lot of money behind it. And so, no, it's not that they want the little people that worked for him and did things, but they will use them as pawns to get him. I'm going to say it again. They will use you as an employee to get to whoever it is that they want to get to in the organization, right? And so you have to really do your homework on these companies in the first place. But even the best of companies can have real dirtbags in there, calling shots and doing things. I've worked in some pretty toxic environments and for some pretty toxic people, right? And, I can tell you it has a certain feel to it. And I have a feeling that working at his company felt far worse than any company that I've worked in that gave me nightmares. And I cried because I didn't want to go to work the next day. Okay. I know what it's like to feel trapped. But a lot of people in this case with Sean Diddy Combs, they were willing to do whatever because of the fame, because of the notoriety, because of the ability and the doors that they felt would open because they worked with him and for his company. So I'm not here to say that they are railroading him because I've had that argument. I'm not here to say that. I wasn't arguing for it. I was arguing against it. If whatever anyone did, they are still just as, well, I won't say just as wrong because it sounded like it was just wild. It sounded like some crazy stuff was going down. It really sounds like some crazy stuff was going on. Like, and I'll admit, because I was a big fan of making the bands back in the day, and I'll admit some of that stuff was like, really? But you just figured it was for, you figured a little bit, some of it had to do because it was on TV. but you also knew that when you work up at that high level with someone like him, and the same for others, I won't name them, but the same for others. Anytime you work for those big names with big budgets and that, there are certain things that you got to know and you got to be willing to put up with and do, because they have the money. And if you won't do it, they will find somebody else that will do it. And I know that is also why people were willing to do whatever he said and was expected. But I could tell from making the band that there was definitely some iron fists going on, and that he had very high demands, high expectations. And I think that's one thing, but ordering all that baby oil and lube is another. That's a whole other thing. That where is that in the job description? Where is that? Right? Where is that? So, and that is why y'all have got, I was just talking to my good friend today. Y'all have got to stop thinking a job is going to be everything. You've got to stop. You got to stop. You've got to have other streams of income, because sometimes you don't know that these places are toxic and dangerous until you're in there. Right? And I'm not one to say that everybody who has money or that money is evil. I'm not one to say that, because there are definitely people with money who do good things with it and who are good people. But enough people out there who achieve a certain level of success, you have to wonder how they got there. You have to wonder what they were willing to do, who they were willing to screw over, who were they willing to mow down? Where are the bodies? What did they do? What were they willing to do to get there? You have to know that. You have to understand that, right? And I'm not saying all of them, because I can think of a company that's local to this area and they are very extreme conservatives. I know that that's not the environment for me. And it's not that I don't have some conservative ideology. Most Black people do. Most Black people are pretty conservative when it comes to a lot of stuff, right? So it's not that at all. It's the extremity of it. And, what I believe and what I do in certain instances is my business, as long as it doesn't impact my work performance. But for them to dictate, like they have very strict dress codes, like they really don't like for women to wear pants, and like and having to wear nylons, and the dress code is very, very specific for going on 2025. It's like, is this a Handmaid's Tale or what? Right? And so you have to know these things about a company before you work there. Readjust my fan. Okay. You have to know what that work environment is like, what the expectations are. My first job out of college, we were salaried, but they expected us to work at minimum 42 hours a week. And if I had to take my daughter to a doctor's appointment and I lived an hour away, I had to make that hour up, but I was salaried. And we had to fill out a timesheet. Right. So these are little things. Like today, I don't think that would even fly. I think it's actually illegal to make you fill out a timesheet when you're salaried, but it was very commonplace in the state of Wisconsin. It was like they treated you like you were salaried. They treated you like you were employees. That you were hourly. They treated you like you were hourly, even though you were salaried. And it was like you had to earn that salary. Like they expected you to work so many hours to earn that salary, when the salary really literally means if you get it done in 35, if you get it done in 55, you still get paid the same. And from what I understand, some things are changing around that, right? Like anything under, I think, 60,000 or more, depending on the state. And then it's actually going to step up from there. That, there's a minimum salary that they can offer you, and anything under that has to be hourly or salaried, non-exempt, and they pay you for your overtime, right? So I'm just speaking based on today and generally, because, it could depend on who's in office, and all other things can go into play. So you have to think about that. But you also have to have streams of income outside of your place of employment. You have to, because the worst place to be is working somewhere where, like I said, you cry because you have to go to work, and you have to go to work for a certain somebody, right? That's the worst, one of the worst place situations to be in, especially when, like if you've got small kids at home, if you're the sole breadwinner and you got to take care of everything, you got bills to pay, and you got to go to work, and not only work somewhere for people that you just really want to throw up being around, because I've heard those stories. And then on top of that, they have you doing things that you don't want to do, you don't feel comfortable doing. Okay. And you might get some leniency for that. If you're doing some things that ain't supposed to be done, you might not get leniency for that. But it still won't excuse you doing what you were supposed to do, which is either leave the situation, and or they still going to expect that you report it. Okay. That you get it shut down somehow, to a degree, I guess. I don't think you've committed a crime if you, in some cases, you might not have. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not even going to go there. Just if you see something, say something, I guess. But yeah, because I've definitely been that girl. I've definitely been like, and pick up the phone. Yeah, they're trying to have me. And yeah, now did they fire anybody or anything like that? Probably not to my recollection. But I would pick up the phone in a heartbeat, like, yeah, I'm being asked to do this, and I don't think I can. Right? Like, I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble, but I'm also not trying to put myself in the danger zone. Okay. And a lot of times there are even anonymous numbers you can call, or who is someone that you can trust, and they toe the line. But I prefer to have things documented. Because you just never know. And so that is why I love to help people with DBA, because you need another stream of income, right? You need more than one stream of income. You need more than one substitute stream of passive income. You need to have multiple streams of income. My good friend and I were talking about that earlier today. She's on like her fourth, I think, reassignment, where her company where she was working, and the last company she just worked at just laid off another 7,000 people, right? And so this is like the fourth time she's, gotten third or fourth time in 5-7 years. She's gotten a severance package, and right now she's on another contract, and she's just really not feeling it. But the market is tight in her industry, so she got to buckle up and smile. And, and there were some things she had to push back on. She had to let them know they baited and switched on her, right? With how many days she could work from home. And she was very clear and upfront, and they tried to gaslight her and say, hey, you needed to state this up front. I did. And y'all told me one thing, and now that I'm here, you're telling me another. And so, her boss went back and they got it straight, right? But that's what we were talking about, is you got to have something digitally. You got to have something passive, because that's what she's planning now is her digital move, and getting some certifications in order to, have me help her and put the digital package together, because I told her, I said, I got you. She's like, I know. Right. But this is something her and I have been talking about for years. And she's drug her feet on it. And here she is on the third or fourth where she's been laid off and had to find another job, right? Had to replace her income. And she's well into the six figures, right? She's, on the lower end, end of six figures, but it's still six figures, right? And so she knows, with certain pricing, she's already done some of the math. She knows how many clients, she knows what her pricing would be to at least get to six figures. And, what a lot of people don't realize, and I am not a tax person, I'm not a financial advisor, but in a lot of cases, you don't have to make as much money as a business as you do as an employee because of the difference in the taxation of the two. And that's all I'm going to say. You need to talk to your financial advisor, you need to talk to your CPA, you need to talk to your people, right? Anything I say here does not replace advice from them. I'm just speaking in general, in experience. It is not to be taken as advice, okay? Other than to talk to your people, right? So she's already worked the numbers, and like I said, in many cases, you don't have to make dollar for dollar what you made as an employee as a business, because you have a lot more write-offs. Basically, there's a lot more that you can write off. And again, what you can and cannot write off, you need to talk to a CPA. You need to be planning, though. I've talked about this before. You need to be planning those expenses and getting the proper advice from a professional before you make those expenses. Because listening to some of these people on the internet, again, gonna have y'all in jail. Y'all gonna be in jail listening to some of these internet people. I even had to tell my own dad, like, I don't know who you've been listening to on the internet, but that is not true. I want to do my own research. Yeah, you can do your own research, but what is the source of your research? And some of that stuff ain't right. It just ain't right. Some of these people will literally do and say anything to get your money out your pocket and into theirs. You got to keep that in mind. Trust me, I could be making a whole lot more money if I were willing to do some of the things that some of these people do. But like I said, I am not risking going to jail. And it's not just an aversion to going to jail. I have to sleep at night. I have children that I am accountable to. I have grandchildren that I am accountable to. I have myself. I have parents. You know, my grandparents are all gone, but my grandparents, I'm still accountable to them. Okay. So going to jail and wearing orange is not an option for me. You got to know, you have to have discernment. I did a thread in the last month or two on how to develop your discernment. And you have to know. And because here's the thing, even if it is legal, it doesn't mean it's ethical. And if it goes against your ethics, you might still want to find another place of employment. If what they do does not roll with your ethics, because legal and ethical are two different things. That's like business law. I think they call it legal environment of business now, a requirement for a business admin degree back when I was a freshman, sophomore in undergrad. That one of the first things that they walk you through is there's a difference between ethical and legal. Something can be illegal and still be ethical, and vice versa. Okay. And so your discernment is like this thing where it's going to be have some basis on your morals, your ethics, even what you've been taught religious wise, right? And a lot of it is just who you are. Okay. I'm a person that on the old school MBTI or whatever, you know, those tests you take, I'm old school justice. I believe in fairness. I believe in equity, doing the right thing the right way. So my compass is a lot more pointed direct north than a lot of other people's. Okay. But there are people who might have worked with me who might feel otherwise only because I can tell the difference between illegal, ethical, and you just have call reluctance, and we need to work through your call reluctance. Okay. So there can be some overlap. There can be some murkiness, and there are requirements of the job, and you have to do those requirements of the job, because the basic requirements of the job, there should not be any question on the legality, the morality, the ethicalness. Is that a word? The ethics of those tasks, right? It's when people try to go outside of those and, oh, slide this in, slide that in, that you can have some challenges, right? And so you have to have discernment to be able to know, number one thing I've always lived by, I'm not the most religious person, I'm very spiritual, is what does it profit a man to gain the whole world lest he lose his soul? That's always been a compass for me. I was not ever willing to do some of the things I've seen other people do in corporate America to get ahead. There's just certain things I was not going to do. Number one, I wasn't going to ever be anything but Tamara. I wasn't fake. I don't know how to be fake. I get it from my parents. If you ever met my mother or my father, but especially my mother, I've told y'all that before. I come from a family, if your breath stink, they're going to say, even my 4-year-old granddaughter will tell you, your breath stink, right? There's not a lot of sugarcoating. There's not a lot of, I come from a very direct, family, right? And my mother, I was taught at a very young age, don't lie. And why? Because a lie is very hard to keep up with. So, you have to understand the differences between that. And, if it's something like, say, in a sales environment, call reluctance, that's not a legality issue. That's not an issue of ethics. That's not an issue of morals. That's an instance of what your comfort level is and where your gifts may reside somewhere else. And that is okay. So we're not talking about things like call reluctance or doing what you're supposed to do on the job, right? Because people do get mismatched and they may get in a role where they need to be proactive in selling and helping people and offering and, suggestive selling, okay? I'm not talking about high pressured sales. But I am talking about you need to pick up the phone and you need to call, right? We need to figure out why it is you don't want to pick up the phone and call. And if we get to the point that you just still can't pick up the phone and call, then we need to figure out where, we like you, but we need to figure out where to get you that's better suited for you, right? We need to figure out if you can't suggest or refer to the salesperson from the customer service desk when you see an opportunity. If that's just something you're just truly not comfortable with, where else in the company can we find a spot for you? Because you show up on time, you're neat, you're clean, you've got a nice personality, but this just might not be the right role for you. We're not talking about that. We're talking about ordered 1,000 bottles of baby oil and stock the room for Bedlam, for Gomorrah, right? You got to know where to draw the line. You got to know where to draw the line, right? There are things that come from financial services. There are things that you just cannot do. And if you are asked to do those, you better be able to say, find somebody else to do it, because it ain't going to be me. It ain't going to be me. I'm not forging any documents. I'm not, when I worked in the banking center, you could not enter someone's password to help them set up online banking. You couldn't do it, right? And there were things that started out with the intention of being good service, like faxing in the direct deposit form for them, calling the employer and helping get that information, where at some point it became a liability because someone could come back and say that they didn't give you permission to do that, or that's not what they wanted, right? So, it started out with good intention that you wanted to just really service them, which also helped get your numbers where they are, but you really were doing it as a convenience and to help them, to make it easier for them so they wouldn't get hit with a service charge in 60 days. But somewhere along the line, somebody probably did something, like my one friend always says, somebody ate Tide Pods. And so now it's messed up for everybody. And you gotta, you just gotta roll with it. You gotta roll with it, right? So DBA 222 for volumes 1 and 2. And what it is it is a program full of resources to help you learn how to create digital products, make offers, and sell those offers online, right? The beautiful thing about a setup like that is once you get it going, you have content. I talked to you yesterday about how one piece of content, for example, on Amazon, a review, a video review can work for you 24/7, 365 and make sales and you get your commission, right? You don't have to physically show up. You don't have to, after a period, you got to say that, right? You don't have to get in the car, have gas, and put wear and tear in your car to go do it. It's something you can do from anywhere, right? So that's the beautiful thing about creating the digital streams of income. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. When it comes to DBA, you still got to do the work. You can't just buy a program. You just can't buy resources. And because you downloaded them on your laptop, think that you're going to make money. It don't work like that. You got to create the digital product. You got to market the digital product. You have to show up, right? And just because you see that there are people who've made thousands of dollars and they did it in a short period of time, you got to understand they might not have been beginners. And they might have gotten some beginner's luck, but chances are they were not beginners. They were probably an overnight success 7 years in the making in a lot of cases, right? And just because they made $7,000 or whatever $1,000 in 6, 8, 12 weeks doesn't mean they're still making that now. And for you to get there, you have to do a lot of work and for a period of time where you might not see much money coming in, if any. That is literally any business, whether it is digital, whether it is brick and mortar. Your traditional business often does not even break even for anywhere from 2 to 5 years. They're operating at a net loss. They're making revenue, money is coming in, but that does not mean that that money is not turning around and going right back out. You literally have to build it. That's why it's called building a business, because you are literally building it. It is not going to build itself. I'm going to say it again. The business, whether digital, whether brick and mortar, whether a small local business, mom and pop, corporate America, it is not going to build itself. It's just not. You've got to do the work, okay? And the work includes showing up, creating the content. You've got to do that, okay? If you don't do it, you ain't gonna make no money. You're not gonna get no customers, right? And when you get customers, guess what comes with customers? Service. You've got to service your customers. You have to take care of them. You have to keep nurturing the relationship, okay? So there's very few incomes that are just strictly passive, right? Like you can buy stocks that put out a dividend quarterly. That's passive income. You don't really have to do anything, right? But if you own real estate, for example, unless you have a management company that you are paying heftily, you got to show up when those pipes burst. You got to show up when there's different situations going on. Okay. So it's mostly passive, but there are things that you got to show up for. You got to get those repairs done. You got to get stuff done. Either you do it or you pay somebody else to do it, but you still, in most cases, at the very least, are going to have to show up. But the way around that is to invest in some sort of real estate investment fund. And again, this is not investment advice. This is just from an overstanding of you got to show up. You got to do the work, right? Because people buy these programs, they buy these courses, and they buy them and they sit and then they want to talk about, oh, the course doesn't work. Oh, it was, something that starts with an S and ends with an M, right? And it's not. You are not accountable. You didn't do the work. You got to show up and you got to do the work, okay? If you don't do it, you won't reap it. If you don't sow, you won't reap. So DBA has some incredible modules. There's volume 1 and volume 2. And I like to describe volume 1 as learning the ropes to digital marketing, right? How to become a digital marketer, right? So that's gonna, they're the three modules everyone absolutely needs to dive into is start here, because start here are the rules so that you know what you can and can't do, because this is a done for you program that you can resell, right? How to launch, right? If you intend to sell it, because you do not have to sell it. You can simply get it and learn from it. There is plenty to learn in here. You do not have to sell it. Okay. How to set up your online store. I can't tell you how many times people show up in the community with questions that are answered in the modules. And then they get mad when they are directed back to the modules. Okay. Can we talk about that for a minute? Can we talk about that for a minute? Because when you buy a course, you buy a program, you don't buy that person holding your hand and doing it for you every step of the way. You don't do that. You literally, there's no way. DBA has over 10,000, 11,000 members now. There's no way to hold 10,000, 11,000 people each by the hand, one by one. I mean, come on now, we got to put on our business hats. We got to put on our adult hats. Okay. It don't work like that. So when you buy the course, you got to go through the material and stop and don't expect that you're going to get your hand held every step of the way. You have to you have to be somebody who takes initiative and can learn and study on their own. If not, then you are going to have to pay somebody over and beyond what DBA costs. Let's be real about what it is and what it is not. What it is a self-study, study at your own pace. Okay, that's what it is. What it is not is a personal coaching done for you. Let hold my hand, and I don't care how much you raise the stake. I'm not doing it unless you pay me for it. It's the same with Pin Profits Mastery, my high ticket course. If you want over and beyond what is in the course, there is a fee for a one-on-one strategy session. There is a fee for a half-day VIP session. There is a fee for a full-day VIP session. Okay. I'm not going to be on here long because I am speaking on a summit, and I don't know why I have a lot of anxiety about being late for that, because all the times were listed in PST and I can tell the difference between the two, but I'm just really nervous about not showing up on time. Okay. The millionaire mindset, because building a business is not easy. But you know what? Being broke is not easy. So you got to choose your heart. Okay. And to help you through that is the millionaire mindset. There is mindset work that you have to pick up and do every single day. But you know what? I can tell you from over 20 years in corporate America, yes, you still had to do mindset every single day. I did mindset work every single day. I listened to CDs, podcasts on the way to work. I would do daily devotional, meditate, go work out. You have to do that every single day. Okay. And it's even more important in a toxic environment. However, even in the best environment, it is just a good daily practice to do every single day. Okay. Building a bomb brand. I always like to highlight this module because this module alone has a value of over $1,000. I could easily sell that module alone for $2,000. I have the audience in the community that would pay $2,000 for it. And the reason why is if you go through those modules and you master what is taught in those modules, you now have a high income earning skill. That's what this is all about. Everybody's like, oh, I bought it in 60 days. I haven't made a sale. But did you learn a skill? Because if you learned any of the skills that are in here, you would have made money by now. Because you don't just make money from selling it. You make money from using the skills and applying the skills that are taught in here. And so if you're not willing to do that in order to be able to sell it and make money, then don't buy it. I'm gonna just keep it real with you. Don't buy it if you're not going to be willing to learn the skills and apply what you learn, right? As Matt says, learn, activate, dominate. The way I learned it is learn, invest, learn, teach, right? Invest, learn, teach, or, information plus application equals transformation, right? You would think that kind of stuff is common sense, but there are a lot of people who've been babied their entire life. So they think they're supposed to just be able to buy it and either somebody do everything for them. Like, think about it. Who's gonna, just because you spent $222 for you, what makes you think somebody else is supposed to build what can be an infinite amount of income for you? Where they do that at? Right? Like, for real, because I've got a bachelor's degree and multiple master's degrees. And ain't none of them schools built a career for me. I had to build that career on my own. Okay. They had a job center. They had, counselors and things to help you put yourself in a position to get hired. But in no way, shape, or form did they ever guarantee getting hired and getting a job at the end of it. So we got to be realistic. We have to have some realigning of expectations here. It's very important to have that. Okay. We have to have that. We cannot move forward without it. Okay. So build a bomb brand, and everything from here on out is skill building. Is skill building and or opportunity, right? So build a bomb brand. That's a high income, in demand skill. Branding is a high income, in demand skill. I know several people who are really good at what they do, and they started a business around what they do. But the reason that they failed, the reason that they are having to make a decision about their business right now is because they are not good at marketing. They are not good at branding, and they've been too stubborn to actually learn it, because they're very easy to learn, in my opinion. Now, I'm biased with over 32 years of sales, marketing, and leadership experience, but they were too stubborn to learn the skills in order to make their brand a success. They built a product, okay? They offer a service, but they did not create a brand. And that's why they have to make decisions to this day. And they bought courses, but they were always, a lot of times it's not that y'all too busy. I'm gonna just keep it real. A lot of times it's not that y'all too busy. A lot of the time is that you fake being busy, you fake productivity in order to keep from doing the things that you want to do, which is another form of procrastination, which is avoidance. You are avoiding doing certain things, and you need to figure out why. We're not going to try and figure that out right here, right now, but you are avoiding something, right? It's procrastination. So you have a lot of people who are really good at what it is that they do. That is why they got in business. They love what they do, but they don't love marketing. They don't love branding. And that is why this is a high income, high in demand skill, because there are a lot of people who need branding and marketing help because they're really good at what they do, not marketing or branding. The problem is some of them don't want to pay somebody else to do it. They just think a magic fairy is going to do it for them, and they're not. And that's not going to happen. It ain't going to happen. And I ain't going to do it for free, and I ain't doing it for $500 a month. So if you can't afford it, then you need to buy DBA and learn how to do it until you can create the income to pay somebody else to do it, because that is what building a business is. There are people who do not take an income from their business for 5-7 years. And when it comes to not just digital marketing and online businesses, a lot of smaller businesses today expect to, whatever they make in a month, be able to use that to live out of. And that is not always the case, which is why you need to have multiple streams of income. Woo, that was a mouthful. That was a mouthful. Okay. So that is why learning this stuff, it is not guaranteed to be high income, but there is definitely a lot of demand for it. And there is definitely people making a lot of money doing it. You have to use the skills that are in here. Even if you can create a significant income just offering DBA with the master resale rights. You can make significant income doing that, but not just because you bought the course and you go live and say, hey, I have a course and buy it. You have to know how to market it, how to position it, how to identify who the ideal client is, right? Who is your ideal target? Who is your niche? All of that is in DBA Volume 1 and Volume 2. It's there. but it's not going to happen on its own without you doing what it is you're supposed to do. It's just not. Okay. So let's get back to these modules because I got to go soon. There is a whole module on digital marketing and it's titled Learning the Skill, right? It's really a content marketing module because everything in there is about content. There's at least 4 modules on content. There's the digital marketing, there's the content vault, there is content that converts, and behind the scenes of content. There's at least 4 modules in here. And the same girl, she's a Hamilton, who created the Build a Bomb brand module, who, by the way, retired from taking clients in her branding agency where she would make $10,000 to $15,000 per client. That's why I'm telling you, branding is a high income in demand skill. I have sold $12,000, $15,000 packages myself. Okay. There are friends of mine who paid, I know somebody offered me one. And I'm like, do you know who you're talking to? For $8,000. Like, why would I pay you $8,000 for what I already do for myself? And I do it better. Right. So is it guaranteed? No. Because you're going to have to not just rely on content when you build a branding agency. You can't just rely on content. Right. Woo, y'all got to go back to my YouTube channel. There is a wealth of information on my YouTube channel because on my YouTube channel, there's a video from this summer where I talk about not only your income producing activities, but the fact that content is passive marketing. To get your business off of the ground, it's going to take a certain amount of active marketing. And no, I don't just mean attending Chamber of Commerce meetings. Like, you have to fill your calendar like I learned to do it early on in my sales career, right? When you work in insurance sales, car sales, real estate sales, different sales environments, you have to do so much outbound calling in order to be able to set up appointments, to do discovery and make a presentation. And it's all a numbers game. And building a business, I'm sorry, but you got to do that. And if you're not willing to do that, you probably shouldn't start a business. And I needed to have always been more clear about that in my marketing. But yeah, you still need to, because, and there was a time when content was a lot more predictable. And I will always still do content because content will close a lot of people too, right? There's you can get them in your funnel online through your content, get them on your email list. Your email list can close them, content can close them. You can close them in Messenger. You can close them on the phone. Whichever way it takes is what I'm willing to do. And a lot of people want to sit and wait for the content, and they don't even put out good content. They put out content sporadically. I mean, not even inconsistently, completely sporadically. They put up 3 pieces of content and think they're supposed to make tens of thousands of dollars a month. And it just doesn't work like that because it's still a numbers game. It's still very much a numbers game. So, the digital marketing module, I would like to think of it actually as a content marketing. There's email marketing, the PLR vault. That vault is filled with over 100 digital products. You get the Canva link where you can go right into Canva and make a copy. And often you get a direct link where you can brand it and customize it as your own. So digital planners, journals, ebooks, all in there that you can customize and sell as your own. You have the rights to them. That's why it's called the PLR vault, because it stands for private label rights. Okay. Like I mentioned, the content vault. The content vault has about 50,000 pieces of content ready for you to customize and use as your own, right? You got to do some work. You have to do some work. In lieu of forking out tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, you're going to pay one way or the other is what I've always taught people. You either going to pay with your time, you're going to pay with your money, and sometimes it's going to cost you both, right? Think about people who flip homes. They buy the home usually for cheaper than they would normally be able to get it, but then they got to come out of their pocket and invest in materials right? Maybe labor. And if they don't buy the labor and contractor, they have to spend their own time doing it. Okay. So I don't know what other people telling y'all, but I'm going to tell you how this really works. Okay. I'm going to tell you how this really works. Okay. So the PLR vault is incredible. The amount of content that's in there. Now I'm gonna be real with you. I don't sell the stuff that's individually in the PLR vault. I just sell DBA. For me, my skill set and where I'm at, I'm gonna just sell you DBA. It just makes better sense for me. It makes better sense for you, first of all, because you get so much bang for your buck. Because listen, DBA volume 1 and 2 is $222. Okay. The Build a Bomb brand module on its own worth $222. Digital marketing on its own worth $222 plus, both of them. I mean, like I said, Build a Bomb brand, $2,000. Email marketing worth $2,000, not $2,000, but $222 for sure. The PLR vault worth $222 easily. I'd say it has a retail value of at least $597. Content vault, $222 is like getting it for free with over 50,000 pieces of content in there. Okay. There's the whole thing on content inspiration, video editing. You know, I was on a live and someone, or maybe it was in a thread, somebody said they edit videos for $100 an hour. High income, in demand skills, high income, in demand skills. I've charged as much as $250 for a 30-second video. And that's creation. Not no video script. Some captions, 4 or 5 sentences that pop up timed on a screen, $250. Okay. Automations, how to set up automations, Canva editing, learning TikTok. This TikTok module helped me grow my TikTok. I went from like 2,200 followers to I think I'm now at like close to 3,500. Okay. IG. Now we move into some more advanced business things, right? Budgeting. Because a lot of people, they think they're supposed to just take the money that they're making and whatever with it, right? Business formation. Do you have to start as an LLC? No, but if you want to move into an LLC, and keep in mind both this and the credit module do not replace you actually talking to a professional. I'm gonna just keep it real with you. It does same with the stock module, taxes, insurance, and all that. You still need to talk to a professional, and because the thing is, especially when it comes to financial stuff, there's information, and that's what this is. This is information, but the information needs to be applied to your unique circumstance, your personalized situation. And if you don't take that into account, you might be getting bad advice. I'm just keep it real. Information is not advice. It is information. Okay. There is a beauty business in a box. And I have built several multi-6-figure beauty businesses online. And I can tell you what's in this beauty business, and they just added some stuff to it. It's legit. It's legit. A lot of it is exactly what I did. It's like I could have written it myself. Okay. There's an Airbnb module, affiliate marketing. They do some workouts together. There's Q&A and replays and some other languages. And then when you go into volume 2, because volume 1 is the skill set, the skills, and then you start moving into some business concepts, right? And then in volume 2, you're moving, I call volume 1 making bricks without straw, because it's literally how you don't need a lot of inventory. You don't need physical products. You don't need a warehouse, a location, or anything to start making money. You can literally make bricks without straw. Okay. And then volume 2 is, now that you're making some money, here's how to keep the money. Here's how to multiply the money, how to make the money work for you. But again, it is information. You still need to get your team in place and make decisions for your business with the help of professionals. Your team being legal, your team being CPA, bookkeeper, your team being, your CPA can be your tax professional, but you need a team, right? You need to figure that out, right? Or do a lot of research and study and things on your own and know. So just say that, okay? So there's platforms like YouTube, Pinterest, and LinkedIn. These are not, I won't say they're not beginner friendly platforms, but these are not where you want to practice. These are what I would call professional platforms. These are platforms where you really want to kind of know what you're doing and you've leveled up. And that's where you go to do business once you've kind of hit a certain level of maturation and skill set and it's refined. Then LinkedIn, YouTube, and Pinterest, because two of them are search engines. And then LinkedIn is literally where professionals hang out and flex. Okay. So keep that in mind. Shopify, printable drop shipping, taxes and finances, life insurance, content that converts, back end of content creation, stocks for beginners, how to sell digital products, Pinterest, Faceless, UGC for beginners, user generated content, become a travel agent, men in marketing, master manifesting, TikTok shop, Turo business. I already mentioned YouTube, Amazon KDP, how to become a virtual assistant, homeschooling and daycare, Facebook monetization, start your own virtual call center, passive income with AI, and wholesaling real estate. And there's more to come, including a volume 3. Okay. So volume 2 is, like I said, what to do with the money, how to make the money work for you, how to not make the money and then go broke, because that's what a lot of people do in real life, like real talk. It just is what it is. Okay. So let's go through some share your wins quickly before I go. I got like 6 minutes. Okay. If you've been at all interested in anything you've heard so far, you definitely want to, you know where to go. And there is a preview that you can check out. Okay. You can go, the preview is completely free and you can see what it looks like on the inside. I don't show it on the screen because some of the apps don't really like that. Okay. So plus, I was only supposed to be on here really quickly and get back off. Okay. Whew. All right. So my third 4-figure month. I can't believe that I made 4 figures this month already. That means I'll make 22K plus. I can actually share this here. I can't believe I've made 4 figures this month already. That means I will make 2,000 plus this month with my hard work and dedication. Notice I said hard work and dedication. Kudos to them for saying that. There's no excuses. I literally do all of these things while doing digital marketing, cook and clean for my mom, full-time classes, home healthcare aid, training to help my mom, a wife, immigration process for husband migrating to America, etc., all while making time for myself, which I have forced myself recently to start doing. For the first time in my life, I feel, in all caps, control. I'm doing what I love to do and buying things guilt-free. Yes, I do offer services of digital marketing, not just courses, but most of my income comes from courses. There's nothing wrong with your income coming from courses. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. Okay. I have also added today all my mentorship as one-on-one coaching with limited slots available. Use this course to make a lot of money, potentially. I'm going to add that. Cheers to my first $2,000 month on the way, $2,000 month on the way. Slow and steady wins the race. Starting a new journey. I'm starting a new page. That's not what we're looking for. Somebody wrote their first book. Someone just made their first sale. Hi, so excited. I just made my first sale, but I need help with my customer. Oh, that's not, they didn't print the receipt. That's on them. Okay. What's this? A new mid-husband. You are now officially adopted as my mid-husband after our call yesterday and planning the blessing. Let's see. Consistent. I made my first sale, I believe, from my Instagram post. Trust the process. Believe. Okay. First day on DBA successful. I joined DBA today and made over $1,300. This group is going to change so many lives. Thank you so much, DBA. There's one thing I'd like to do, and that's have someone run my store and sales, answering DMs comments for me. I'm a nurse. Well, I hope she's planning on paying somebody. And in nursing school, so I know this can get overwhelming, but the way today went, I'm looking forward to many more days like this. Okay. Going live changed my life. I made $600 in an hour on my live. Go live. It makes a difference. So thankful to this academy. Just stay consistent and don't give up. 567 new followers from one video. I've been stuck at around 60 followers for 2 months. I posted a creative video of me playing piano with modern dancers dancing to the music, and it has gone viral, over 5,000 views overnight and 567 new followers. My first sale. I've got some very exciting news to share with you all. I woke up today to my very first sale. I know it might not be much to some, but a win is a win to me. And that first sale feeling is unmatched, no matter the amount. Okay. And then you can see, it looks like foreign currency, Canadian on Beacons, $17. Holla, holla. Okay, so people are winning. Somebody just hit $4,000 in digital marketing. I just started on June 3rd, learned so many skills from multiple courses. Now I'm helping others. Anyone who needs help with various things, whether it's sales, branding, whatever, my DMs are open. Let's eat and win together. Okay. I love when people have good intentions like that. But at some point, it becomes about your time. It becomes about your time. And there's no value on free, right? My DM's open, but you really want some help, you're gonna pay. Okay, my first sale today. My friends and family, I'm so happy today. I made my first sale. Yay, I can smell to be able to get someone from another country. I can smell to be a millionaire. That's so cute. They made their first sale of $158. It was when DBA was on sale. Okay. So exciting. Celebrate with me. I made my first sale and it feels amazing. I love sharing those more than, somebody hit $20,000, hit $25,000. Don't get me wrong. I'm excited, especially like my guy, Rich James. He's such an awesome person, for him to see him have the success that he's having. But I love sharing when regular everyday people are getting their first sale. Because, there's a reason why restaurants put that first dollar on the wall. There's a reason why. Okay. And that reason is it proves to them that they can do it, that they made that first dollar, and that means that they can make more. Okay. I see more people are joining. I'm sorry, but I gotta go. Because from this very spot, I'm about to be teaching a powerful group of female entrepreneurs and also men on how to generate leads online, what exactly their lead magnet is that they should be creating in order to generate leads, and how to do it strategically so that their leads actually convert. Okay, because people create lead magnets that don't convert, and then getting them to convert to the lead magnet and getting them to convert to a customer is a completely different thing. Okay, so thanks for watching. Make sure, if you are not following or subscribed, that you follow, you subscribe. If you heard anything here that you enjoyed, that made the light bulb go off, please comment that. I love to read those. It keeps me going, and I love to share them as well. If you have any questions, drop those below also. And for that preview, you know exactly where to go and get that preview of DBA completely for free. Okay. But I have to go. I will holla at y'all later.